Our next guest is the author of one of the most talked about books of the year. Her name is Glynnis MacNicol. Her new memoir is called, I love this title, I'm Mostly Here to Enjoy Myself. Listen to the second line. One woman's pursuit of pleasure in Paris. So it follows Glynnis's journey to the City of Lights after more than a year of pandemic isolation here in New York, determined to find enjoyment on her own terms. Yes, Glynnis. She writes about her days in Paris full of food, friendship,
that's right,
and some sex.
Say what?
And there's a bicycle involved, too. First on CBS Mornings, Glynnis MacNicol, we're very happy to say, joins us first. We love when this happens. Glynnis, bravo, bravo, bravo.
Thank you for having me.
Bravo,
bravo.
I know.
To be here.
I'm like in awe of you and afraid at the same time. I was so excited to meet you. Now, I normally always like to read the blurbs, and one stood out to me because it came from Katie Tur, also known as Mrs. Dokoupil.
Yes.
She says this, I thought I knew pleasure when I met my husband, but reading this book makes me think I should have stayed single in Paris. Finally, a model of womanhood beyond kids and marriage, a vision of what it can be to embrace freedom. Every word was a pleasure. Tony, do you have any comment before we go to Glynnis?
What I will say to men is buy this for your wife. She'll be pretty hot and heavy, and you'll enjoy it too.
Oh, nice.
Here to help everyone.
Very nice.
I'm here.
But Glynnis, I love the premise of the book because it started after you said you were in isolation in your studio apartment here in New York, feeling what, and you decided to do what?
So I spent more than a year alone, like alone, untouched. I say unsmelled because it's such a strange thing to not have anyone interact in any way with your body. Unseen, except as we were all seeing each other sort of with the screens. And my exterminator for the building would see me sometimes. That was sort of the extent. So that spring, after vaccines rolled out, before Delta rolled in, I had spent a lot of time in Paris. I had a very dear friend group there, and I bought a plane ticket and just thought, if the plane takes off, I'll be on it. And I landed in Paris, and it was after so much deprivation. It was sort of like that first glass of water, and you were like, oh, I'm really thirsty. Truly. And I just hurled myself into...
It's the untouched part, because you said touch is essential.
Touch is essential.
It's of all the senses, it's what we cannot live without.
When I was
being untouched really struck you.
Being untouched, when I was a syndrome called skin hunger, and when babies go untouched for too long, it has really dire consequences on their development. And they've done studies on animals who, they go untouched, they prefer touch over food, which is sort of incredible. So to be untouched and then suddenly. So much touch, really.
A lot of touch. I was going to say, you need touch, but touch is also pleasure, right? Touch feels good.
So much. I'd had not nothing pleasurable. I mean, that was a difficult time for all of us, but it was sort of like I dipped my toe in and thought, well, maybe this will be enough. And then I was like, nope, that is not enough. I want more and more and more.
Go on the deep end.
I went into the, I went on the deep end.
But what's so great about the book, actually, is the message that women hear, particularly as they're around 40 and above, is that touch is sort of no longer for you. You are no longer, you don't matter in the same way to the world. And that's not the experience you had.
My experience of aging has contradicted so many of the things I've been told aging would bring to me as a woman. And I think the absence of you'll be increasingly invisible, that you won't be considered attractive. The absolute opposite has been true. And I think entering into my late 40s in the manner I did through this book was a real reminder of the stories we're told do such a disservice to our experiences.
You called it gaslighting.
It feels like gaslighting.
Yeah, gaslighting, yeah.
But how much of that is intentional, though, in how you move?
How intentional for me or intentional?
Yeah, for you, because you can be told women of a certain age, your life will start to head down the other side of the hill. Yeah. But you were also intentional.
Yes, absolutely.
Where you put yourself and what you wanted in your life.
When I landed in Paris, it was, I wouldn't say an act of desperation, but there was a little bit of a frenzy, like I cannot spend one more day by myself. And so the intentionality for me at that point was very immediate. It was like instinctual. I just thought, I just want this and I'm not gonna think about whether I should get it. And then subsequently I thought, oh, I can have as much of it as I want.
But let's talk about what you did. You went on dating apps. You had a range from 28 to 58. You had a good time.
I had a very good time.
You had a really good time. This is what I like about it, though, with no apologies. No. You're a grown-ass woman. It was consensual on all levels.
On all levels.
But I worried about your safety sometimes.
I think
you said,
Paris, huh? It's Paris.
That's what. Yeah.
I mean, it's
you
Paris.
wouldn't do that. Would you do that in New York?
Probably not. I think that
It's Paris.
I don't want to, categorize Paris as sort of a blanket statement of being a utopia.
It's pretty good, though, Glynnis.
It's pretty good, though.
The French prioritize pleasure in a different way. And there's more openness toward it. And in that sense, I think I felt far more comfortable with my own activity.
Glynnis, love the book.
Yeah, we love the book. You said misery loves company, but so does joy. Book your flights to Paris.
He's overheating.
You'll love it, too.